Finding out that you are pregnant, especially for the first time, is like no other feeling that I've ever experienced. But we didn't know that it was going to be like this. I have always, ever since I was a little girl, knew that I wanted to grow up to be a mom. My husband Colin and I have been together for 7 years, married almost 2, and a little before our 1-year anniversary, we found out that we were pregnant for the first time. We went to our first ultrasound together a few weeks after finding out that we were pregnant, and the ultrasound technician is looking at the screen and she's really quiet, so we automatically assumed that something had gone wrong. She broke the silence asking, is this your first ultrasound? Is this your first pregnancy? Yes, yes. And she turned the screen around to show us and she said, well, there's 2 heartbeats here. We just about fell on the floor. It was such a crazy feeling. We thought she was joking at first, but we were ecstatic and we felt so blessed leaving the office that day. Just putting the nursery together, buying 2 cribs, trying to imagine what our babies would be like. There's just so much joy and so much expectation in those 9 months that goes through your head, and you just can't wait for the day to be here when you get to meet them. On March 4th, they came. It was such a beautiful experience. I felt such a closeness to God. I knew that He would be with me through the pregnancy. I knew that He had carried me that far, so what could go wrong? I knew something felt off with me while I was in the hospital after having the twins, but I just chalked it up to new motherhood, fatigue, and exhaustion, so I didn't really think anything of it. Doctors had warned us that the statistics for postpartum depression with twin mothers was really high. I also have had a pretty intense history with depression, so we knew that the risk might even be higher for somebody like me, but I had prayed all throughout my pregnancy that God would just help give me the strength and the courage to get past something like that if those feelings ever did start. A few days after we got back from the hospital, I just knew what was in front of me, and it felt really dark and really scary. I didn't open up to anybody about it at first because I felt really ashamed. How can you be sad when you have your baby or your baby's in front of you? You should feel joy. You should feel gratitude. So when you don't feel those things, you automatically just think that something's wrong with you. A week after we got home, the entire country just shut down due to COVID-19, and that really left us feeling isolated and alone. My days looked like just making sure that these babies were changed and fed and okay, and there was no time for me to bond with them because when I wasn't making sure they were changed, fed, asleep, okay, I was just weeping. And I felt like inside I was just crying out to God and thinking, I think you have the wrong person, God. I don't think I was actually meant to do this. And that, for me, was such a discouraging feeling as somebody who grew up so confident that this is what I was supposed to do. And then being in the moment, feeling like a complete failure. That I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to be these babies' mom, or worthy enough to give them what they need. I wasn't sure that I would ever feel okay again, honestly. In the midst of all of this, it felt so foreign to just open myself up to God and let Him into my heart and help heal me and help move me forward. Fortunately, my husband knows me really well, and he just asked me one day, he said, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling like you're experiencing some postpartum? And just broke and told him everything that I was feeling, and he really was the one that encouraged me to reach out to my doctor and get some help and just start opening up about this, because he knew that if I didn't, this could honestly take a really bad turn. I was put on some medication, which helped tremendously, and I started opening up about this to some of my close friends and family members. And honestly, talking about it and just saying what it was that was happening and bringing it out of the darkness did a lot for me. It brought me a lot of peace in my life. It didn't fix everything, but it definitely started a healing process for me, which is good. The really neat thing that I experienced about God through all of this is that He is not fazed by our mental health or our baggage or our sadness at all. It doesn't scare Him away. He actually welcomes Himself into our sadness, and He sits with us in it, and He doesn't rush us out of it. He is kind, and He is an encourager in our sadness, and there's all the room in the world for Him. Looking back and seeing where we are now, there's definitely still moments where I grieve disappointment, and I have to let myself do that. But where we're at as a family now is so beautiful, and I would not trade it for the world.